Did you find everything?
It starts like
Yes,
nothing.
all set. Just paying with the
A
card.
grocery store is open. The lights are bright. People are calm. Then the card reader freezes. The cashier tries again. Same result. A small line forms.
One more try.
Quiet, annoyed, still polite. 2 miles away, a gas pump won't authorize. Drivers tap their cards twice, then a third time. Someone
Go ahead.
and pulls
Thanks,
out
appreciate
cash.
it. Yeah, thanks.
Someone else doesn't have any. At a pharmacy counter, a mother
I
waits
apologize,
while
but
the
the system
screen
is showing
behind the
delayed
glass
coverage.
Is
loads
there anything we can
and
do?
loads
We really need this today.
and never
Let me check for an
resolves.
alternative dosage.
The pharmacist apologizes, not because the medicine is gone, because the system can't confirm it. Nothing has exploded. No power is out. But a single invisible layer of modern life has stopped answering. And when the world loses confirmation, it doesn't collapse. It hesitates. You didn't run out of money. In most cases, the money is still there, sitting in your account, unchanged. What failed is the moment between you and the purchase. The instant your card asks a question and a distant system answers it. Approved. Declined. Try again. That answer is called authorization. It's the permission stamp that tells a store, yes,
Just 1 moment,
you
please.
can hand over the groceries.
Sorry about that.
It tells a
Here you
gas
go,
pump,
and thank you for waiting.
yes, you can unlock the flow. It tells a pharmacy, yes, this transaction is valid. And it isn't one computer in one building. It's a chain. The terminal talks to a processor. The processor talks to a network. The network talks to your bank. Fraud systems score the request in milliseconds. Then the answer comes back the same way it went out. When that chain
Yes,
breaks,
understood.
by outage, overload, bad update,
double-check
routing
steps
failure,
before authorizing the
everything becomes guesswork. Cash still works because it doesn't need permission. But most businesses aren't built to run on cash anymore. They keep less in the drawer. They don't have enough change. Their staff hasn't practiced it. Their inventory system expects a digital trail. And if you're thinking, I'll just use another card, that often doesn't help. Many cards ride the same rails: shared processors, shared networks, shared risk systems. One failure upstream can make a dozen different brands look broken at the checkout. Sometimes the failure is partial, which is even worse. A few payments slip through. Others hang for 30 seconds and die. Some terminals flip to chip only. Some stores try offline mode, tiny limits, high risk, then shut it off when the chargebacks hit. This is why payment outages
another
feel
register
personal so fast. They don't destroy things, they interrupt trust. One small approval at a time. Your card payment looks simple. Tap, beep, done. Behind that beep are 5 roles. First is the merchant, the store you're standing in. The merchant doesn't talk to your bank directly. It routes the request through its payment processor, the company that runs the terminal connection and formats the message. That processor sends the authorization request to the merchant's acquiring bank, usually just called the acquirer. The acquirer is the merchant's bank partner. It's the one willing to accept card payments on the merchant's behalf and take the risk that the money will arrive later. From the acquirer, the request goes on to the card network, the rails. Visa-style, MasterCard-style networks are switching networks. They don't hold your money, they move the question to the right place. That right place is the issuer, your bank, the one that issued your card. The issuer checks, is the card valid? Is the account open? Is there enough available balance? And does this look like
Are you sure
fraud?
about this figure?
If it says yes, it sends an approval code back down the chain. That approval is not the money moving. It's a reservation. The issuer sets aside the amount so you can't spend it twice. Later comes clearing. The merchant batches the day's transactions and sends them for processing. Then settlement. Actual funds move between banks, usually on schedules, not instantly. So, in a payment outage, a few different things can break. If authorization fails, the store can't get permission, so it won't hand over goods. If clearing fails, you can get stuck in limbo, approved at the moment, but later reversed or duplicated. If settlement is delayed, the merchant gets paid late and starts tightening rules. Cash only, minimum purchase, no refunds, no tabs. This is why the most dangerous outages aren't dramatic. They're inconsistent. One customer gets through, the next doesn't. And every small business has to decide in real time how much trust it can afford. When payment networks fail, they almost never fail the same way everywhere. A clean outage would be simple. Everything declines, everyone switches to cash, you move on. But real failures are messier because the payment ecosystem is layered, redundant, and constantly trying to help in the background.
Sorry about that.
One common failure is the timeout.
One moment. It's
The
just
terminal
loading.
sends an authorization request, but the reply doesn't come back fast enough. The store's screen spins. The customer waits. And then the request either dies,
About that, it's just taking
or
a long
worse,
process.
it succeeds after the store has already tried again. That's how you get duplicates. The customer thinks nothing happened, but 2 approvals were reserved. Then, refunds become a second crisis, because refunds also need systems. Another failure is partial routing loss. One region can't reach an upstream service, while another can. Some stores approve, others don't. From the outside, it looks random, which makes people try harder, tapping twice, inserting the chip, switching cards, flooding the system with even more traffic. Then there's fraud defense mode. The second networks detect instability, they get conservative. Risk scores rise. Approval rates drop. Transactions that normally slide through, like fuel pay at pump, small subscriptions, travel, online orders, start failing first because they're statistically riskier during chaos. Many merchants also rely on third-party token services, the digital vault that turns your card number into a token for tap to pay. If that layer breaks, the physical card might still work while mobile payments suddenly don't. And sometimes a merchant tries offline fallback, a mode where the store accepts a transaction without live permission, betting the payment will clear later.
Try inserting the
But
card.
offline comes with limits and risk. A grocery store might allow it for small amounts for a short window, then shut it down when the first wave of chargebacks hits. Fuel stations often avoid offline entirely because the loss can be huge. The quiet killer is inconsistency. If you knew every card would fail, you'd plan. You'd buy once with cash. You'd go home. But when one transaction works, another hangs, another declines, and a fourth approves after 30 seconds. People keep trying. And every extra attempt turns a technical problem into a human one. Because in a payment outage, the system doesn't just break, it gets noisy.
Looks like it's taking a moment. Sorry about
Hour 1 feels like a glitch. A few stores shrug and put up a note. Some terminals keep working. People complain, laugh, and try again. It feels like a local hiccup. Then the second hour starts to teach a different lesson. This isn't one store. The first place it becomes visible is anywhere that runs on fast, low-margin volume. Convenience stores, gas stations, big grocery chains. The terminals that do approve begin to slow down. 30 seconds, 45, a full minute, and every extra second creates a line. Managers make the first decision, cash only. Not because they want to, but because they can't afford to hand out inventory on a maybe. Cash doesn't solve everything. Most stores don't have enough change. People pay with 20s and the drawer empties fast. The same transaction that takes 2 seconds on a card becomes a negotiation. Do you have exact? Can you break this? Can you buy something smaller? Lines don't just get longer, they get heavier. At gas stations, the failure hits even harder. Pay at the pump is basically a fraud engine in real time. When risk rules tighten, pumps are the first to decline. Drivers walk inside. The station becomes a bottleneck. And now a place built for 10-second transactions becomes a place where every car takes 2 minutes. That's when behavior shifts. People who were only going to buy 5 gallons decide to fill the tank. Not because they're panicking, because they don't know if they'll be able to pay later. One extra person topping off doesn't matter. But when thousands do it at once, the line becomes self-fulfilling. By hour 3, the outage starts reaching services that aren't shopping. Public transit kiosks that rely on card networks slow down. Parking garages can't validate exits. Delivery drivers can't pay for fuel. Restaurants stop taking tabs and ask for payment up front. Ride services get unreliable because their entire model is authorization and verification. Then comes the second wave, ATMs. People trust cash because it bypasses the permission layer, so they go to machines. But ATMs are also networked systems. They talk to banks, check balances, and manage fraud. When those networks are congested, withdrawal requests time out. Machines go offline, and the small number that still work become magnets. By hour 4, the rumor problem begins. Someone says, "Cards are down everywhere." Someone else says, "It's a hack." Another says, "Banks froze accounts." None of them knows, but everyone feels the same thing. The floor is less solid than it was this morning. By hour 5, businesses start triage. They choose which transactions they'll risk. Some accept only chip. Some accept only cash. Some accept card only above a certain amount. Others shut down temporarily because the argument at the counter is costing more than the sale. And by hour 6, the day has a new rhythm. Less spontaneity, more waiting, and a quiet calculation that every person is doing in their head. How far can I get today without needing permission?
What's happening in the city now?
By the end of the first day, most people have found a workaround. They used cash. They skipped a purchase. They went home. But the real danger of a payment outage isn't the day one inconvenience. It's what happens when the systems behind the scenes start tightening. Hospitals, for example, don't stop caring for people because a card fails. But clinics do something quietly important. They verify insurance, verify eligibility, verify identity. When those checks slow down, the front desk becomes a choke point. Staff spend more time on the phone. Patients wait longer. Some appointments get rescheduled. Not because care isn't possible, because the paperwork layer can't confirm what it usually confirms in seconds. Then there's logistics. A delivery chain is a web of small payments, fuel purchases, tolls, warehouse services, contracted drivers, last-mile vendors. When authorizations fail, operations teams start improvising. Drivers get told, "Only this station," "Only this route," "Keep receipts." Businesses that normally reconcile digitally begin doing it by hand. That takes staff time, and time is inventory. Payroll is another quiet pressure. Most payroll doesn't move on the same rails as your retail card, but it depends on the same broader banking ecosystem: clearing schedules, verification systems, fraud controls. When a crisis hits, even a rumor of delay makes people nervous. If your rent is due, a maybe tomorrow deposit can feel like a cliff. And once merchants feel threatened, they become conservative. They raise minimums. They reduce returns. They stop taking risks. Not out of greed, out of survival. Every approved transaction that later reverses becomes a direct loss. Every duplicate becomes a customer service nightmare. And every refund request becomes another moment that depends on systems working normally.
Oh, I see. Thank you anyway.
This is how outages spread without spreading. Not by breaking new things, but by making every institution act a little more cautious, a little slower, a little less generous. And the longer the outage lasts, the more temporary rules start to feel permanent, because nobody knows, in the moment, whether the next outage is a glitch or the beginning of a new era.
I'm not sure. We can scan these whenever you're ready.
When the network finally stabilizes, you don't get a clean ending. You get a messy morning. The first sign of recovery is usually speed. Terminals stop spinning. Approvals come back in seconds. Lines shrink. People exhale and say, "It's fixed." But behind the counter, the real work is just beginning. Merchants have to reconcile everything that happened during the fog. Transactions that timed out but later approved, purchases that were attempted twice, refunds that were promised but never processed, offline slips that need to be entered, handwritten receipts that have to match inventory. Banks and processors run cleanup too. They look for duplicates, reverse inconsistent authorizations, and adjust fraud systems that were tightened during the outage. Some customers see pending charges disappear and reappear. Some see two holds where they expected one. And the support lines fill up, because the crisis is no longer, "I can't pay." It becomes, "What happened to my money?" This is why outages leave a psychological scar even after they end. Not because the systems were down, but because people saw how thin the layer is, how quickly modern life turns from automatic to manual, and how long it takes to restore something most of us never notice: confidence. A payment outage isn't the end of the world, but it is a test. Can you function when the world can't confirm you? Here are 5 rules that keep it from turning into panic. Rule 1. Keep a modest cash buffer. Not a stash, just enough for a few essentials, fuel, groceries, transit, without needing a network handshake. Rule 2. Don't rely on one rail. If you have multiple cards that all ride the same system, you don't have redundancy. Keep one alternative: cash, a separate account, or a method that doesn't fail the same way. Rule 3. Don't live on empty. A fuel gauge below a quarter turns a normal outage into a personal emergency. Staying above half is boring until it saves you.
Proof matters.
Rule 4. Keep proof. When systems get noisy, receipts become reality. If you buy something during a glitch, keep the slip. If you pay cash, take the paper. If you're told, "Come back later," write down names and times. Not because you're paranoid, because reconciliation gets messy. Rule 5. Plan for verification downtime. Medical visits, insurance, payroll, and deliveries all depend on confirmation layers. If you have a prescription, keep a small continuity buffer. If you're paid on a schedule, don't run your life to zero the day before. None of this is dramatic. That's the point. The best survival plan is the one that looks like an ordinary week, right up until the week stops being ordinary. Now, here's the alternate reality. In the real world, these outages are usually measured in hours. But if a nationwide payment rail stayed unstable for a full 24 hours on a holiday weekend, nothing apocalyptic happens. What happens is faster. Behavior. People top off early. Cash disappears from drawers and ATMs. Stores tighten rules. Lines form where lines don't normally exist. And by the second day, the economy isn't broken, it's cautious. Because once you've felt what it's like to need permission for everything, you stop assuming permission will always be there. Next episode, we take away something even more invisible. The lights stay on, but the cell network goes dark. No calls, no texts, no map, just silence. Subscribe, because in alternate realities, we don't watch failures from a distance. We learn how to live through them.